Welcome to Enlivening Musings. I'm Crystal.
And I'm Katie.
And today we are talking about clearing your energetic space, creating space, all of those things that are really beneficial for holding space as a practitioner, but also in your own home and within yourself as a human being interacting in the world with people.
Yeah. I think this has come up a lot for me, just in like people I've like run into or people I'm working with of like what we were talking about before and laughing. It was like, the world is full of like empaths is like the new like tag word that everyone's like, I'm an empath and da 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 da. But I always like me and my daughter were laughing about it. I'm like, I think everyone is. If you're not empathic, like you're kind of like scary, like,
Right.
like everyone should be, but then there's a way to have like a boundary with it and keep yourself safe. And boundaries are like a whole other like tag word, but I think there's a way to just have some true concrete ways to create a sense of safety when you're doing any sort of work with other human beings or interacting, and especially more intense spiritual work and opening people up in certain ways, like I do with the fascial system. And that's how we thought about talking about this, because I take it really seriously of creating a safe space. And I'm very happy that as I learned some of these techniques, I learned them from someone who was learning them a lot themselves. And so we started like with the basics of like how to connect to our higher self or our spirit guides and how to call them in to keep us safe and to take it seriously that there are entities and spirits and things that are not always positive and good. And you can't just be opening yourself up to all that. You have to make sure you're being safe and within your own body and the people coming into your space and the space itself. So we're going to talk about some techniques and things you can do, some like concrete, tangible things. Yeah. So do you want to go first? Because you want to share like some things that you've done or like your regular practice for setting yourself up?
Yeah, I first have to lead with the fact of kind of like what you're talking about like everybody's empathic and all of that stuff. And so dropping your victimhood with any of that, if you're in that state of being like, I'm empathic and it's so painful and it hurts me, because it doesn't have to be like that. Like call your power back regarding that. And this is one of my most profound things. And so the first biggest tactic is the fact that we are in control. So nothing is allowed to enter you or your space without some form of permission. So knowing where you're feeling less than, I think, is probably one of the things, or open to letting something like that invade you, because an entity or an external energy that is not for your greater good is only going to be invited in if you allow it. And, or for instance, this building is a very transient building. So things come in and out and in and out. And I make it very clear that nothing is allowed to stay. So it's that permission, that openness, that allowance, and deciding for yourself that no, nothing is welcome here. And so you can do that for yourself by just saying, okay, anything that's attached to me or trying to attach to me that isn't for my greater good or that I haven't said a full yes to, you're not allowed here. So detach now. And it's that simple. And you can do that with your space then as well. Like if there's any lingering energies here, any entities, any of that I have not specifically called here, that is not for my greater good, that is not my higher self or spirit guides or anything like that, you are not allowed here. You must leave.
I love that. Simple. And it works.
It does. And it's funny because so many people are not satisfied with that. Because it just doesn't feel like enough. and that's fine, because then there's other stuff. There's
that deeper belief system. It's not enough. They're not enough.
Yep.
They don't feel powerful enough to call that in.
Right. And to let that be. And so that's fine. So we can do other things, right?
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, some of the things I like to do that are really simple. I mean, I start my day and end my day in my treatment room, like kind of like making a little protective bubble. I like to, like right now I've been feeling really connected and calling in on like my guardian angels. And I like in my practice and belief, there's like a male and a female energy. And I've done some practices to kind of figure out who they are, I guess, just simple stuff. And then, so kind of calling them in as like protection and reminding me that I can, remember to connect with them at any time when I'm feeling like a little drained or something. And then I like, I mean, and this might feel a little advanced for people in a little their comfort zone, but I like to call in the 4 directions. In my practice. And then I,
When you say that, do you include the archangels of each 4 directions, or are you only talking about the directions like elementally?
I call in, that I learned from my teacher. I call in like different, like spirit animals kind of.
Okay.
So like to the south is the serpent, and then to the west, so serpent's kind of teaching you to like let go and shed your past. And then to the west is jaguar, jaguar is like the protector of the space. And so calling on that to, quickly take any heavy energy or anything icky that we don't want, to quickly take that back to the earth where it belongs and it doesn't get to stay at all. And then to the north is hummingbird and ancestors. And then to the east is the eagle or condor. And that one kind of ties into kind of tapping into our higher self and like going after our dreams and living fully. And that's kind of some of what I've taught. And then I've kind of made it my own. Mm-hmm. And then I do some just Catholic prayers that I have. Like I light a candle. I have my little altar set up in there, and based on like my own upbringing, like I feel like a really strong connection to like Mother Mary, and she's kind of like my strongest spirit and support guide. So I always like say a prayer to her and ask for, her support in like being more gentle and patient and all those things. That's kind of my practice. And then at the end of the day, I bring my energy back to me and say thank you. And so I can have it all to myself and now go home to be with my family and be with them. And sometimes in the middle of the day, if it gets heavy, like I will shake, I will maybe use a rattle, I will use some different sprays I have, or light incense or Palo Santo, or just whatever I feel called to. But, and it could be as simple as just like lighting a candle and just like calling in your own energy and just calling for protection. Like it can be so simple.
Right.
Because I don't want any of this stuff to feel like so out there for you, because when I first started doing it, I was like kind of weirded out and it didn't feel embodied, like it was my own to even do it. And even sharing it just feels like a little bit like it's, a pretty like intimate thing of a practice. Cause you do it kind of in your own space with the door closed, and it's, I don't let anyone else be in there when I'm doing it, basically.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely.
So but just don't let it scare you if this feels like a lot, or like in different spiritual realms for you. Call in whoever you want. These are just techniques that might help you feel some like physical, tangible support as you do it.
Right. So when I first started learning some of this stuff from a Hispanic guide, teacher, real life human, she was amazing. I first learned from her about utilizing like Archangel Michael, which a lot of people pronounce Michael, and utilizing that as the protector archangel, as well as the one, because he has an entire Legion of Honor who can clear and cleanse a space. And so I love calling upon him. So when you're talking about that, and I forget which direction he pertains to, but they all pertain to directions as well. And then I had also learned about utilizing sage. And of course, as I kept evolving, I learned a very reverent practice of utilizing sage from her. And then, of course, now having multiple Native friends, it's cool because they've all said, no, you have so much respect for it. You use it in such a appropriate way. You're not like hurting the community or doing that. And I do try to get that from local native reservations and things too, so that I'm supporting that versus just some random market or something like that. So that is important to me when I talk about things like sage. You can burn sage and cleanse your space with that, but there is a deep reverence to the practice, and it is great if you do have a native person teach you the appropriate ways to use it. It just feels more connected to that lineage then, and allowing that to feel that sacredness, where you're not just like, I'm some white girl like burning my sage being like, woo, cleanse my space.
Yes.
And that connection to the nature, you know, and you're connecting back to your nature roots and all of that stuff as well, which is just, to me, where it's like really important, is really just feeling your own connection, because we do all have that connection with nature, regardless of our ancestry and all of that stuff. Other things that I like to use as like sprays or diffusing, because then I'll diffuse sage as an essential oil. And so it is very cleansing. So also some history to that I learned in like a little bit of research. There's like a research paper out there, I forget where it is, but they would use sage in a tent or a teepee, and the amounts of sage that they would use in there was astronomical, to kill germs, to really just like kill all of those extra things. And so I think that that's so profound, because you're literally extricating, you know, not just the energetics, but the physical things that create illness or disease. And so with that, an essential oil is so concentrated, and depending on how small your room is, it can be doing that in the air as well. So it can be killing the germs as well as shifting and changing the energies if you put sage essential oil in a diffuser. Another one, and don't do that around young kids. Another, especially in a small room for over half an hour and another one, essential oil that I've loved, which was brought to me in a chiropractic practice that I was in, was sweet orange oil, because it keeps esoteric critters away. And so you can just put a drop of it like on your clothes, even like just on your shoulders, on your clothes, just like a drop, not on your skin though. It can burn you straight up, and or if you have it on your skin and you go out in the sun, that can be a problem too. But if you put a drop just on your clothing, and or if it's winter or anything, which was one of the reasons why we wanted to do this, because up here in the north we are going into winter, so you're going to be in your space. So let's make it nice and juicy and amazing for you. But that can help keep that off of you if you're really feeling like you need that extra support of, I want to keep this energetic thing off of me. Another spray that I like using is the clear spray, which is from Floralive. And Floralive is my all-time favorite flower essences, because the flowers are alive when they are captured. The essence is captured. It's captured in beeswax. So the flower is rooted in the earth, drawing up all of the nutrients from the earth and getting the sunshine and all of the vibrancy and energy from the sun. And it's alive. It's not a dead flower being turned into an essence. So they're so super powerful. But they have a blend of freedom flowers, and then so you can use that and put it in a spray bottle, or you can buy their clear spray, which is just, I love using that in between clients in the treatment room. And or just on myself if I'm in a funky mood and it's like something attached to me that I don't know about it. And then I ask everything to leave and I spray myself, and it's just like, yes, be gone.
Yeah. And that's one tip I would give people too, is like, kind of what I've learned is, if you're going to like clear a space, almost like, anoint yourself first, like spray and like let yourself feel it, and then go out and do the room.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like give yourself a little self-love first of it, and then go do your space or whatever. And yeah.
Right. Because you're part of that space. And especially if you are a practitioner, and then you're the one doing that.
Yeah. And I think, it makes such a difference. Like, I just really believe in, just the ability to create that energy in a space. And I see it like when people come in my room and they immediately feel safe, or they feel like just a relief. And I'm like, well, yeah, I know I made it that way.
Right. Here, I'm commanding the energy of this room. Thank you.
And like all the prayers add up. I mean, that's why when you go into a church, it feels really beautiful sometimes. Especially some of those really old churches. I mean, I just think of like the church I grew up going to, it's still there. Like, I think like my grandparents were married there. Their funerals were there. Like, I was baptized there. My children were, I was married there. And like, I think of all the prayers that my ancestors sat and said, like, that's really profound and powerful and beautiful, regardless of, take the religious doctrines away if that makes you uncomfortable. Like, there's something really powerful about prayer. And there's a ton of research to show that prayer works. There's literal books full of research. I'm not talking like, oh, I did research because I Googled it. I'm talking like research papers, double-blind studies, whatever you call it. So these things, they work. They're
right.
real.
And it is, especially if you do have like any sort of an about that, like same for meditation.
Yeah.
And so meditation,
it's
a form of prayer.
Exactly.
So that's just making that connection
for
some people,
because feel
sometimes
icky for people.
Right.
Those
words.
That's
words.
Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's like
belief systems.
Same. Yeah, I know. Go listen to that episode.
It's a belief system, So just feel with it,
Exactly. I think just one other thing that I think about, especially with what you last said, you made it this way, is your own connection to your heart or your own groundedness, and the way that your own resonance is what impacts the room as well. And so again, if it's your own home, what is your resonance currently, and what do you want to fill your home with? And sometimes that is actual physical things like, oh, I want it to be a little more cozy, so I'm going to get this faux fur rug, or I'm going to get these squishy pillows, or whatever it is. And other times it's an ambiance thing, or setting that intention or whatever. And same for yourself. So again, doing your own clearing practice, your own resonance. Where's your resonance? What type of work play do you need to do to get your resonance where you want it? Because that's what people are feeling too. You imagine walking into a room and it feels so safe and cozy. Are you feeling safe and cozy in your own body? And that bleeds into the room.
Yeah. Cool.
Anything else?
No.
Okay.
I think that was good. That was fun. I hope people try some stuff and let us know, like, maybe what your practice is, or if this hits on a belief system for you in what feels like a positive or a negative way, or what it causes you to be curious about, or something you do that you want to share with the world that's been impactful.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear it. Yeah,
I love it, because there's so many other things. I mean, there's stones, symbols, all of this stuff. I mean, there's so much stuff we didn't even mention. So what's your it, Awesome. Yeah. I love it. Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye.
Thanks for musing about with us. If you loved all of that and you want more, you can find Crystal's stuff at aliveness.academy or enhanceutv.com. You can also snag up her app, Pleasure Fairy. It's in the Google Play Store already and should be in Apple App Store soon. For Katie, you can find her at wellnesswithkatie.com. Enjoy.